W. Edwards Deming said, "Whenever there is fear, you will get wrong figures." You now understand why traditional root cause analyses fails, what the science says about blame, and how better questions produce better answers. But none of that matters if you cannot get your organization to act on it. This section is about implementation, and implementation starts with the people who control budgets, set priorities, and define what accountability means. Leadership. If you walk into a meeting and say, "We need to stop blaming people," you're going to lose the room in under a minute. Read the room. Now, not because you're wrong, but because that framing triggers every executive's worst fear, a workplace without consequences. So this lesson is about giving you the language, framing, and evidence to make the case in terms leadership already cares about. Executives don't think in terms of cognitive bias or systems theory very often. They think in terms of risk, cost, and competitive advantage. So it's your job to translate. Don't lead with philosophy. Lead with the problem they already see. Every executive recognizes recurring failures. Every executive has read incident reports that feel interchangeable. Frame your proposal as a solution to repetition. Todd Conklin put it plainly, organizations that find people as the cause of failure will keep finding people. The system remains unchanged, failures continue, costs accumulate. That's not a safety argument, that's a business argument. Blame is expensive. Every investigation that ends at a person incurs two costs, the original failure and the recurrence when the system produces the same outcome through someone else. Translate this into metrics leadership already tracks. Repeat incidents consume investigation hours, corrective action cycles, retraining budgets, legal exposure, and management attention. When the same failure category appears quarter after quarter, it signals unaddressed system cost, not individual incompetence. Now frame the return. Organizations that adopted blameless postmortems report faster incident resolution, higher disclosure rates, and fewer repeat failures. Google's site reliability engineering teams documented this. Etsy became a reference case for how learning cultures improved reliability and innovation. The ROI is operational. When people report what actually happened instead of what protects them, investigations surface system conditions. Fixing conditions removes entire classes of failure. And risk is a language executives do speak fluently. Blame culture introduces a specific, measurable risk. Information suppression. When people fear punishment, near misses go unreported. Near misses are early indicators of system weakness. Suppress them, and serious failures arrive without warning. Deming warned about this decades ago. Fear corrupts the data organizations depend on to make decisions. When figures are wrong because people are afraid, leadership is navigating blind. Frame the choice clearly. A culture where problems are hidden until they become catastrophic, or one where issues surface early while they're still manageable. Blameless investigation is not soft. It's not a bleeding heart approach. It's a disciplined approach to improving risk intelligence. Every executive will ask the same question. If we stop holding people accountable, won't performance decline? This objection must be addressed directly. Blameless does not mean accountable less. It means separating learning from judgment. First, investigate to understand what happened and what conditions allowed it. Only after that process is complete should leadership determine whether individual conduct requires a separate response. Sidney Decker's Just Culture framework provides the structure. It distinguishes human error, at-risk behavior, and reckless behavior. Each requires a different response. None require blame-based investigation. The key message for leadership is sequence. Accountability and learning are not intention. They operate in order. When combined, though, both fail. And do not ask your leadership to transform the organization overnight. Instead, ask for permission to run one blameless postmortem on the next incident. One team, one incident, one comparison between what this approach reveals and what the traditional process would have produced. Todd Conklin calls these learning teams, facilitated conversations where people closest to the work describe the conditions they manage daily. The output is not a corrective action for an individual, it is organizational insight leadership has never had access to before. When executives see the depth and usefulness of this information, the case makes itself. You don't need leadership to accept the theory. You need them to see the difference in one investigation. Speak in terms of cost, risk, and competitive advantage. Address the accountability objection directly. Propose a pilot, not a policy. The shift from blame to learning begins with one better conversation about one failure. Make the case for that conversation.